We did it. First day of school is done. Hello you guys, welcome to day 3 of the daily vlog for this year. Now it technically was our first day with students. We had already had our 2 days of PD as you saw in the previous vlogs, but yeah, it was our first day of school. I had intended to vlog before school, but there was just a lot last minute, and then the teachers, we all go out about 20 minutes before school to start like greeting the kids and just helping with the setup process. We had to pass out schedules to the kids, all of that. So it was definitely a more hectic morning, but things are in good shape right now. It is a half day, so we just had lunch, and now the remaining 3 hours are actually ours to work on our GCN training. But as I had mentioned in a past vlog, I already got it done. So for me, it just means I can take care of some stuff around the room. Today was pretty straightforward. I did go through a couple basic like slides and announcements with the kids. I just had this basic slideshow. I talked through our agenda. For me, this was the easiest way to write down since there was a lot of little stuff to do. So we took care of that. We did have an assembly, which overall went well. A few assembly behaviors I'll have to work on with some kids. And then we had gone through some basic class procedures, what they can expect when they first come into first hour, and then just like talking through things for tomorrow. Now I was only with one group today, so it was a first day of school, but then it wasn't because at the same time I only met about 25% of my students. So tomorrow, tomorrow is a full normal day of school. So that part's really exciting. That's gonna be like a real first day kind of after I have more of a sense. But today in general went pretty well. I'm happy with how things started off. I think the tone was definitely more serious. Like I look forward to bringing more of the like fun type of activities, and I think my first day of school icebreaker activity that I use is a great option for that, and also for me to work more with names. I'm gonna practice some of the names tonight using our like online teacher grade book attendance system. Has pictures of the students from last year, so I have my memory from today as well as the pictures there, so I'm hoping at least first hour I can get all their names good by tomorrow. So that's kind of a goal here, but I'm also gonna be taking care of some stuff around the room as well and really getting set up because I have 3 hours in the room to work on things. So I'm super excited about that, and that is much needed. All right, so today's topic that I wanted to talk about are some easy ways that you can learn names. I know for me, it's definitely one of the, I don't want to call it a challenge because to be honest, I am pretty good with names and I do really value learning them as quickly as possible. But I think it's a really important thing to take care of at the beginning of the year. And I think there is a difference. I don't have some science to back this up, but I do think there's a difference in how students view teachers for the ones who learn names right away and for some where it takes them 2 or 3 weeks before they get the names. Obviously, we all have different numbers of students in different situations, so of course it's going to vary a little bit. I know, for instance, I have around 115 students, I believe. The rosters are still changing a little bit, so I don't know for sure. Jake's got around, I think, 150 students. So, you know, it is a lot harder for him just given the fact that he's got a full class worth extra of students compared to me. But I think there are a couple things that you can do to make it a little bit easier on yourself to learn those names. And like I said, for me, learning names is something I for sure try to have done by that 3rd day of school. I would say 2nd day of school, but I only saw my first hour group today. As far as techniques, I've got 5 different strategies that I use to help me learn names very quickly. First of all, I try to do some prep ahead of time. And this can be before you meet the students, or it can be before like the next day of class. So you can either, you know, like look over your list, become familiar with the names. So then it's like when you hear names, you've seen them before, you've heard them before. That's been helpful to me, especially with pronunciations. Also, if your teacher grade book attendance program has pictures of the students, which ours does using Teacher Ease, then that makes my life a lot easier because I can look at their school picture from last year and start to put them together. And it helps me if there's certain names when I'm reading through the list and it's like, who were they there? Who was that? That helps me a lot. My second tip to learn names is to take attendance differently. I'm gonna be very honest. I despise the standard method of attendance where the teacher stands up in the front and reads the names and marks them off and the kids say here. I know that's very common. For me, I literally only do that once in the year. It's more so only if I have to, really. So in the past, I know at this school, we had to read them out loud in front of all the students on the team. Like, it was a big team attendance, which was a little bit chaotic. This year we were in the rooms, so had I known that, I feel like I would have been able to take attendance like individually rather than just like reading them out loud. But for me, I find that the reading it out loud, obviously it's using class time where the kids are just sitting there. It's very much a balance of, you know, they're all looking at you while you're reading the names and probably mispronouncing some. And also, just because I'm trying to get through it efficiently and I'm looking for the kid, I'm not really as aware of, okay, this kid is this person, make a mental note. I'm just trying to kind of get through it and make it go smoothly. Here's what I like doing instead. Obviously, you can't do this every day, but this can be a good helpful start. I make sure there's an activity such as a student inventory. I'll actually link our free one in our TPT store below if you're interested. This is the one I'm using. I'll have the students pick up a copy of that. For attendance, I will walk around the room with a printed copy of my roster, and I will talk to each student one-on-one. The kids will be instructed to be quiet while they're working on the inventory, and that way I get to have a short, small conversation with each student. I can hear the correct pronunciation of the names to try to prevent problems later, and it takes the pressure off me from reading them as quickly as possible in front of the room. I can really stop, pause, and take kind of a mental note, and even pause throughout it and say, okay, that row we had this person, this person, this person. And so for me, that's a great way to help with names. A third option would be use a seating chart or name tags to help you. I personally haven't done the name tags thing, but a seating chart can be really helpful because you can put them in a seating chart and use that as a backup. So if it's, let's say, the third day of school or something and I'm kind of testing myself to see if I know the names, if I have that seating chart there, I can, you know, casually glance at it and say, okay, I think that's this person. Let me check. Yes, it is. And then the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So that can be a really great tool to kind of know where everyone is and start putting those faces with the names. Next up, doing a name-based activity such as an icebreaker can be really helpful to help us remember that. There's so many examples of these online. Personally, my favorite, I know I'm annoying how much I talk about it, but I love that first day activity I use. I've used it every year since I created it, so I guess this is my 4th year using it. And it's perfect because the kids can fill out, it's interactive, the kids are out of their seats, they're having a chance to talk to other students, but I also get to participate. I walk around, I sign kids' sheets, they sign my sheet, I get to engage with them a little bit about certain topics. It's honestly like the perfect activity in so many ways. So for me, that's a really great way that I learn a lot of the names, because again, it's taking that formal setting away where it's just like me in front of the class, even though there's still some of that with rules and procedures, but it makes it more like a level playing field. It feels more neutral, and that's where I get to remember the names better, is when I have that time one-on-one with each kid. Lastly, is to just be like a really good observer. This is kind of a vague tip, but as I'm teaching, and even like we were in an assembly today, I was very closely observing. And for the kids who I already kind of knew their names, I would say by the end of the day, even though I just took attendance in front of the class and we only saw one group and not even for a full time, I would say I know about half their names right now. I was just really spending time observing behaviors, and I would like remember those names. Okay, what kid is doing that? That's this kid. And like remember them that way. And so the more you observe, okay, this student is doing that, you kind of link the person's name to those actions, and that also helped. Granted, not all the actions were positive, but the idea that you're helping remember the names by specific things about that student, same with interests, I think can be really helpful. So those are my 5 tips to help you learn names really fast. Of course, if there's other cool hacks you're doing for that I haven't listed, you can feel free to leave those in the comments below, but that's definitely something that's worked well for me.